Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Painted Arrow podcast. I am in the studio by myself today, and kind of looking back, it's been quite a while since I've sat by myself and did a podcast. And if I had to actually put a date on it, probably when this year podcast started in late 2017, 2018. It was just me at that point, so it's been quite a while. Usually we have a guest in here, Devin's in here, Trav sat in, a handful of them now. But it's just me today, and the solo theme is kind of fitting because what I'm going to talk about today is this archery backcountry mule deer hunt that I'm going to actually be going on solo in the great state of Utah. I think 3, maybe 4 episodes ago, Trav came on here, and originally he was set to go with me. Trav is our media coordinator at Painted Arrow. He does a lot of our filming, footage. He does the podcast editing, just anything outward facing in terms of media. He's kind of the guy. It goes through his fingers at some point. And the intention and the plan was to film the entire hunt. And it's, we've had a lot of, planning and discussion on it. And he actually, I'm breaking a HIPAA law. I realize that, but he's had some issues with his knee. So not quite sure what the deal is, but probably 3 to 4 weeks ago, he started having some swelling in his knee, and we're not quite sure what it is. It's pretty sore still. And I tried to get a replacement for him to, come with me, and it ended up not working out. Nobody has vacation time. Nobody has the time to do it. And I'm actually oddly excited for the challenge to do this solo because I don't know. It's just something I've always wanted to do. I really do enjoy hunting alone. But usually on these, you're carrying everything on your back for a week, going in the backcountry, these really remote places. Usually, it's not uncommon to take a partner with you, but it's sometimes safer, especially if you got a family, like, your wife worries about you or whatever. It's just nice to have somebody that's along for the ride to share the loneliness, I guess. And but all that being said, I'm going on a mule deer hunt, and I'm going to be going on alone. I'm going to be flying out of the great state of Michigan to the great state of Utah, Detroit to Salt Lake, and renting a car and going into the mountains for a week. So this is I kind of wanted to talk through some of the details of this because, like I said, the original intent was to use our products, some of the filming products that we have. I'm going to do that with or without somebody there. But the idea was that Trav was going to go and kind of film this hunt and show me utilizing some of the products, right? And just it's like when you think about filming a hunt, like specifically, the camera gear, the bigger, nicer mirrorless type cameras, the one that I don't really personally know how to run, edit. That's where Trav came into play. He was gonna get some of these really nice videos and pictures. We were gonna take a drone and just get some cool footage in general. It's like one of those things. It's like the opportunity's there, might as well do it. But I'm kind of excited because now I'm going to be only utilizing our products. So I'm going to be taking 2 products of ours on this hunt from the jump. I'm going to be basically documenting this. This is going to be a documentary film. I'm going to use 2 products. So one is going to be the Mag Pro attached to my bow. That's number 1. Number 2 is our micro arm. And I'm going to do my best. I can't guarantee anything, but I'm going to do my best to document this solo backcountry hunt up in the mountains of Utah. So I'm pretty excited. I really am. It's a different challenge, and my mindset has shifted for sure. Going with Trav, and to be honest, and this is nothing that I haven't already said to him, but picking a hunting partner is pretty difficult to just align with mental, like the mental side of things, like the mental challenges, the suck, embracing the suck of some of the things you encounter on a backcountry hunt. Is just a lot of grinding, right? If you've never done it, it's hard to explain that. But if you've been on some of these longer, extended, away from any type of civilization for 5+ days, there's just this mental grind, and that's one side of it. And then the other thing to picking a hunting partner is like the physical fitness level. And that was something I was telling Trav like early on. I'm like, dude, I really need you to be in shape. And this was going to be like the first hunt that we would have went on together. So I'm kind of bummed that he can't come, but at the same time, I really like a challenge, and this is no different. So I'm kind of embracing this entire hunt. It's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be lonely. I'm going to miss my wife and my kid. There's no doubt. I'm already like kind of dreading it in the back of my mind. And I just feel like this is going to be a sabbatical for me in a lot of ways. We've been really working hard at Painted Arrow, and I feel like it's a good time for me personally as a man to kind of reset. I'm going to take my Bible. I'm going to do some reading, and I'm going to just try and get right and find some deer. So a little bit on the details of this specifically, I've been gearing up for the last 3 months, really, and just dialing in all of my gear. And we did a gear dump review on our YouTube page, and I kind of went through some of the things I'll be bringing more in depth, but some of like the more notable things that I kind of just wanted to like talk through, because this is kind of what I'm talking through in my head personally, is like I got a new pack. I got an XO K4 frame pack that I've really never had a high-end pack. It's a Cabela's multi-day pack, just nothing special. I had a meat carrying pouch, but like really not a high-end, pack by any means. It was basically a price point, very affordable starter type backpack. So that'll be the first time using that. I'm pretty excited, messing around with it. Right now in my basement, I just have gear everywhere, and I've been like packing it different ways and figuring out the best way to load it and unload it, and what's most efficient, and certain things that I want in certain pouches versus others. And that's one thing that I'm really excited to kind of like test out, because that's a big piece. That's a really big piece. Other piece of gear that I wanted to mention is my bow. I'm pretty dialed. This is I'm feeling really good. I got everything's kind of dialed in. I got a new string like early in the summer, and that's shooting really good. I got a sight on there that I'm very familiar with. This is the second year I've used my bow. It's a Matthews Phase 4, and I'm just shooting really good with it. I've been practicing with broadheads. I mean, I feel really confident in that area. The one thing that is kind of up in the air with specifically the bow is I'm flying. I've never flown to a hunt before, so there's some complexities with getting to and from my location. So the one kind of thing that is kind of in the back of my mind is like I'm gonna have to take my sight off to put it into my bow, my bow bag. Basically, I got a soft-sided. It's not soft-sided. It's a firm frame, but there's like fabric sewn around it. But it's specifically designed for airline travel. So it's a bow case specifically designed for airline travel. I can't remember the name of it. I'm actually borrowing it from a buddy. And basically, I'm going to have 2 bags. This Archery bow bag, and then my XO pack. That's going to be my carry-on, and then I'm going to check the bag with the bow, obviously, and the arrows and all that. But getting back to my original point was like I'm going to have to take my sight off when I put it in there to travel. So that's one of those things I haven't quite figured out. I'm obviously going to shoot it once I get there, but I'm not able to pack a target. So it's going to be one of those things I'll just probably try and figure out on the fly, maybe shoot into some grass or something. I don't know. But that worries me a little bit, just taking the sight off the bow. It shouldn't be that big a deal. It's a dovetail style mount. So it should be fine. I'm not too concerned with it, but it is something that I'm thinking about in the back of my mind right now. The other thing is, like, I've done a ton of research about, what can you and can you not take as a carry-on versus checked baggage. So things like Bic lighters, things like, butane canister, things like, like tent stakes, right? Like all the little detail things. So it's kind of complex in the sense that, like, I'm going to have to completely reset my bag when I get there because there's going to be things that I can't take on as a carry-on. So I've been, just like I said, in my basement, taking things apart, putting them back together, and just seeing what's most efficient and trying to remember every little thing, right? Because the way that I'm going to hunt specifically on this trip, I did shoot a mule deer with a rifle in this exact same unit 2 years ago, but now I'm going with archery tackle, and it's going to be a different hunt for sure. I mean, totally different time of year. The bucks might still be in velvet, and it's going to be super challenging. I think my main goal is to find the deer, but all that being said, like, once I get into Salt Lake, I gotta go to the store and get a couple of things. Like, I won't be able to travel, like I was mentioning, like butane specifically for my camp stove. I won't be able to put it in as a checked or a carry-on. Like, that's one of those things you just cannot fly with. You just can't. So I'm a little bit kind of concerned about something that I might forget that I cannot check or I cannot take as a carry-on, like last second. I've tried to go through everything, but I've never done the flying part. So it might be a little bit interesting getting through the security part of things. But I feel like once I can get through security, like, I got everything pretty much dialed. Like I was saying, landing in Salt Lake, I got a rental, a 4x4 vehicle lined up to rent. I have a bunch of gas stations kind of marked on my route. I know the trailheads that I'm going to be parking at. I know some of the basins I'm going to be glassing. I have my pack pretty well dialed in to, like, its weight. How I'm going to transfer food, how I'm going to camp, how I'm going to do that. And just to, not to go into too much detail, but in the past, I've done a lot of hunts where, similar to this, where it's like a backcountry style. I've really put myself, like, I've picked a spot far off the trail, 5-6 miles. And it's like you get in there and you burn a bunch of energy getting into this spot, and you kind of end up hanging out in this area the entire hunt, which is not a bad tactic. If you've been there and you know the area, which I have done for elk hunting in Colorado before, you go back to the same place every year and you build intel, and then you have more of a game plan. You know where the animals are typically coming through, how they're working the ground. But for this hunt specifically, when I went in there 2 years ago and shot a mule deer with my rifle, my original plan was to do that, which was go in 6 miles. I had a bunch of waypoints marked where I wanted to hunt back in, way back in, and never ended up actually going to that area because local hunters were giving me intel where they had seen some, bucks, and we ended up getting on those bucks and saw them a bunch of times, and we ended up spending a lot of time, almost a whole hunt, in a completely different area. So that was 2 years ago. But this time, I'm going to try and be more mobile. So specifically, I have a bunch of locations marked from the road, from trailheads, from places where I can park that are within 2.5, no more than 3 miles for sure. Like, that's still a long way to walk in the mountains. 3 miles is, it takes some time and you burn energy getting there. But I'm trying to target locations that are good vantage points for glassing that are within 3 miles from a parking trailhead that I can get in, glass, and if I'm not seeing the deer, I can move around within there maybe a little bit, but I'm not going to be spending more than 2 to 3 days in there. I really have 7 days to get it done, Sunday to Sunday. So I have 3 locations specifically where I kind of plan on, I have a 1, 2, and 3. So best, better, and then good, I would call it. So I'm in number 1, number 2, and number 3 locations, and I'm just going to check those off and see if I can find deer. So in a big way, the way that I'm looking at this in the early season, these bucks could potentially still be in velvet. I'm I'm just, for some reason, like I've played sports my whole life. I played basketball in college, and one of the things, like going into a game, I was telling Devin this the other day, like, you don't really, like, you build up a confidence in whatever you do if you do it for long enough. Like, I'd go into a basketball game and I would just have this mental headspace of like, man, I'm going to get it done tonight. I'm going to play good. I'm the man. Like, you almost like talk yourself up. Like, I got this. I can do this. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but I've never done the backcountry thing with archery equipment. I just haven't. I don't know why that is. Seeming that we own a company called Painted Arrow, not Painted Bullet, but anyways, like, for some reason, it's hard for me to picture me coming out of Utah with a mule deer buck. I don't know why. It's just hard for me to picture that for some reason. And I don't know if it's because I know this is a general tag. I don't know what to expect in terms of pressure, but I got to imagine there's going to be other hunters out there. This would be the second week that the season's been open, so hunters would have already, currently as I'm sitting here talking, like, hunters are in the field. So they're getting pushed around a little bit, but these hunts are just so, they're such a grind, and it's just, like I said, it's really hard to explain that if you've never done it. But there's just lots of periods of downtime. There's lots of periods of doubt. There's lots of time to think, and sometimes you just think yourself into an oblivion while you're out there, and the thought of quitting comes up. Well, man, maybe I'm not seeing anything. I can just leave. So it's really a mental game more than anything, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. So I'm just, for some reason, I know how difficult it is to get it done. I've done these enough that I know it's just this difficult thing, especially when you've never been to an area. I've no scouting. That's one thing I'm really, if I had more time, you'd fly out to Salt Lake and do a little bit of summer scouting and just getting an idea of where these bucks are moving through. Like, that's something that if I had unlimited time and money, I would have done that. But we found out we drew in late spring, early summer, and then it didn't pan out for me. So yeah, that's kind of where my mind is. Like, I'm confident that I have all the right gear. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be taking 85 millimeter spotting scope. I got 2 different pairs of binoculars. I'm going heavy with the optics. I have an 18x56 Razor binoculars, and I also have a 10x42 to just carry on my chest as I'm kind of walking around. But yeah, I'm going heavy with binoculars. I really just don't think there's any excuse for the gear part of it. Like I said, I think I have everything I need. I'm confident in that. It's just finding the deer. That's the name of this in my mind, is finding a male deer before it finds me. So I think people, in my experience, on these specific types of hunts, like I think people don't give the animals enough credit of, like, knowing that they're there. They might not be spooked or anything, but, like, you got to think about it. Like, these animals know, like, it's their home, right? Like, they just know when there's a truck at the trailhead. I think they can, smell the campfires, whatever. Like, they just know when somebody's in their territory. And so sometimes, you're camping on a certain ridge or whatever, and then thermals in the middle of the night, like, deer are feeding all night long. So I just think it's getting in there and finding a deer before they find me, putting them to bed, and getting in to make a close stalk to get an arrow into one of them is going to be a lot of fun. I'm just really jacked. I'm really jacked to do it. And I just can't say enough about how excited I am for this change at the end to be just me going solo. Like, it's a new experience. I'm going on an adventure. I'm going on a completely different style of hunt than I've ever done, and that just jazzes me up. So my plan, like I said, I'm going to try and film a lot of this. I'm not going to have signal. I don't have any plan to make updates on our story or on any type of social media. Like, while I'm hunting, but I'm gonna try and keep people updated, like as I'm flying to the airport and things like that, and just kind of show what I'm doing. And there will be a film coming out at some point that it's just going to be a documentary type of film, nothing crazy, but I really do enjoy that. That's something that, as we've gotten into this business and doing more of the media side of things, like I really do enjoy, specifically within the film category, like the documentary style, where it's not necessarily this crisp, clean, presentation of a video that you might see like on a YouTube, but it's maybe a little longer. It's like 30 minutes or 40 minutes, but it's like it's all the nitty gritty detail that you don't see really a lot of times. So that's what I'm planning on. It's all going to be filmed on an iPhone. I plan on trying to do. I'm going to have a lot of downtime. So if you've ever done these hunts too, like usually the morning and the evening or to about 11 o'clock, and then they kind of bed all during the day, you can definitely pick up movement. But my point is during the day, there's typically a lot of downtime. So I specifically am going to try and do like podcasts on my mobile device. And then maybe when I get back, I can upload kind of what I'm thinking, what I'm doing during the day. That might be something I try to do, but yeah, guys, I'm jazzed, and I hope that you guys are excited to kind of hear some of the updates. So that's really what I wanted to discuss with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this. A couple of quick updates with Painted Arrow. We just dropped 2 limited batch options for like custom camo colors. So specifically with the Mag Pro, just the standard Mag Pro, our top SKU. You can now get that in Mossy Oak Bottomlands camo. It's really cool. They're really, really cool. Also, you can get it in the Fred Bear camo pattern. So these are dipped. These are hydro dipped. It's a really cool process. They're all done here in Michigan. And those are available on the website right now. And there's a very, very limited number. Like I think I checked this morning and there was around a dozen of each pattern left in stock. So if you're listening to this, go check it out. I think they're a really cool option. We've never really done this before, but they're available. They're live on the website. And use promo code podcast. You can get 10% off on our website. So there you go. Thanks for listening along. We'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget to relive the hunt. See ya.